Hey, vacation dreamers, welcome to Book Solid, the podcast where two travel advisors share insider tips, talk about our favorite destinations, bucket list experiences, and everything you need to know to make your next vacation unforgettable. We'll break down what's included, what to watch out for, and keep it real with plenty of laughs along the way, while we help you plan with confidence. Let's jump in.
Hey guys, welcome back to Book Solid, a podcast where we're going to chat about all different things. Today, we're going to focus on travel insurance because this is something very important to us, especially when we talk with you. If you work with us, this is something very important to us and making sure that you protect your vacation because you are investing thousands of dollars into your vacation.
Yes, it is. A vacation is definitely an investment, and having that travel insurance just gives you a peace of mind. It gives me a peace of mind
For sure.
for my clients, but um, just having that help in your back pocket.
For sure. We can just kind of talk about basics and then we can get kind of down to the nitty-gritty. So, a lot of the different suppliers like Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Universal Studios, all the cruise lines, they do offer their own travel insurance. However, I think it's a lot more limited in terms of how much they support your vacation. A lot of the times, again, some of them might be a smidge different, but for the most part, if you buy the travel insurances directly with whichever vacation you go with, let's just use Disney World for example. They do offer travel protection, and we'll talk about specific pricing here shortly, but just so you kind of understand, it's really only to protect the vacation, the resort, your park tickets, and that's it for the most part. If you want to book through a third party, like we work with Arch Room Right, which they're going to protect the flight, if you get sick, like all these different things, it'll provide more coverage. Whereas the different suppliers, yes, they do offer it. It is pretty good. It's just more limited. Same with cruise lines. They are going to protect the cruise itself. It is not going to protect like your flights and, all that stuff. They do cover a certain amount in terms of like your like personal belongings, but it's still more so focused on the destination itself, protecting that side of it. It's not protecting the person, I guess is a better way to put it. They're going to protect that room or that stateroom, whatever.
Disney insurance does protect some semblance of the flights. I don't know the exact, like, full extent of it, but their resort ones do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% on the cruise side of it. Um, but then like Universal, theirs is a cancel for any reason. So it is not necessarily a travel insurance. It is a you can cancel up to this point for a full refund.
Yes.
Um, which not saying you shouldn't get it, but also think of an added travel insurance if you're just doing Universal.
Yeah, because like you said, the cancel for any reason is literally exactly what it sounds like. If you need to cancel your trip for any reason, which even then Universal has a policy that you can cancel within like as long as you're within your final payment, which is 45 days in advance. So you can still cancel, but once you get past that 45 days, then that's where that cancel for any reason comes up, but it's not travel insurance.
Right.
They're two different things. Uh yeah, I was gonna say something else and then it went poof.
Sorry. Is that we work with Arch Rum Right. There's also Travel Guard, who I know is really good and has good coverage, as well as Travel Insured is another one that I've worked with before and that had good coverage at a decent cost. Um,
Hmm.
I think that's something too that you might think that it costs a lot more to go with an outside agent or an outside third party travel insurance, but it's not. And if you look at the coverage that it gives, it could give you more coverage than what the supplier might do.
For sure.
And they're really good about breaking it down too. And lots of times they have different levels and different tiers,
Hmm.
be another word for levels. But uh, so definitely look at that too. And I know we can, we're not insurance agents, so we can't necessarily tell you which one to get. We can
Hmm.
provide you the information, but ultimately, I always tell my clients it is up to you to decide what you want for your family and what works best and what kind of coverage you want. Here are the options, and this is my experience with this company.
Exactly. Like it's like saying that we're like, whenever it's time for you to fill out your benefits through your work, that's not our place. We are not insurance people. We are travel advisors who book vacations. So, yes, we can go through and talk about these different travel insurances, different options, but we can't really give you advice. One, because I mean, it's not our vacation. It is your vacation and how you want to protect it. But at the same time, I mean, we obviously can sell the different insurances and things. Like we do have the basic knowledge, but that's not our like expertise. Our expertise is in whichever supplier we are booking the vacation for. That's where our expertise comes in, not with insurance. So we'll have basic understanding
Right.
and be able to like tell you, okay, so through Archroom, right, you have these three different plans. Here's where your trip falls under, and here's the difference between the three. Look it over, let me know. We're not gonna be like, oh, you need this one because it does this. No, that's not our place.
And I've had clients where I'll send them the options and they'll ask questions, and I mean, I'll answer as best as I can, but they might have some medical things going on, or um, maybe they have extra medications they need to take, or grandma and grandpa are a little more high risk.
Hmm.
So they might decide to get that higher tiered package because of what it covers
For sure.
for grandma and grandpa. And then the younger family might get a lower tier, which is nice when choosing an outside third party travel insurance, is to where you can kind of have that freedom to choose what works best.
Exactly. It's a lot more customizable, whereas like the suppliers, it's a flat rate for the most part. Like, especially with the cruise lines, they're going to vary a little bit more because of the length of the sailings. That's where it'll vary. But for the most part, it's a flat rate. Like with the different insurance companies, they've got different packages, they got different tiers. This person can have this type of insurance while this person can have this. It's very basic through the suppliers. Like, it's just essentially kind of like the bare minimum to an extent. That's kind of pushing it because I know they offer different suppliers will have more coverage, but I say at least the bare minimum because at least with the like insurance companies, they're gonna be a lot more thorough.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of times I've found too that those third party insurance agencies have the support a little more ready than the suppliers.
For sure.
Where, like, especially ones that we work with, we might have a direct support person to where we can like reach out to if something goes wrong. Um, to where the third party ones, it might be you can get to somebody, but it might be a little more
Ping, ping, ping. Bounce
hey,
back and forth.
perfect.
Because again, if we work with a supplier, their job is to, assist other customers. They have the knowledge of that specific supplier, like Disney World. They're going to have expertise on all the resorts, where to stay, all of that. They're not going to have the expertise on the Disney World's travel insurance. They might have like the basic information like we do. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
Find out for Walt Disney World, it covers specifically the adults. I think and correct me if I'm wrong, I think written in there, like if you have kids, they are covered if you purchase the travel insurance for the adults,
Mhm.
right? Like I'm
Yep.
not making that up.
Yep. So everybody is covered, but you only pay for the adults.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, and then Walt Disney World, and I think Disneyland I think is the same. I just book way more Disney World than I do Disneyland. But for Walt Disney World, it's a fixed rate of $95 per adult. So that is kind of nice to know that at least for Disney World, it is a very fixed rate. It is $95 per adult. And there you go. We already touched on Universal. Universal doesn't really offer travel insurance. They just have the cancel for any reason. Those are two separate things, but it is something to know because I think a lot of people assume that when they're building their package that that's travel insurance
Yeah.
and it's not. It's just going to protect if you're going to cancel your trip, which of course happens all the time. We would strongly encourage you if something like that happens, that's exactly why you get travel insurance. That's just one reason to get travel insurance is if something comes up and you have to cancel your trip. I wouldn't necessarily rely on Universal's $45 cancel for any reason when you're investing thousands of dollars. Um anyway, off that soapbox. Um, Disney Cruise Line, and again, I'm pretty sure this is pretty standard. Disney Cruise Line does 8% of the total cruise fare. So it'll kind of, it varies per sailing, time of year, how many people are going, the type of stateroom, all of those things. It's going to be a fixed rate of 8% of that total cruise fare, kind of give or take. Um, and then this is where it gets a little weird. I looked up specifically Royal Caribbean and Norwegian just because I've personally worked a lot with those two suppliers. Royal Caribbean is also super weird, is you can like it's also it varies based off of the sailing. Like there's lots of variables that come into it, but expect to pay at least $100 per person. Which again, that's when you kind of look at some of those, other travel insurance companies to kind of price match to see if it's worth booking through another supplier versus or sorry, I said it backwards. The supplier versus like a travel insurance. And I actually did this with a client of mine personally. They looked at both options and it was actually a little bit cheaper to book directly with Arch Right, and they were going to be more protected in their cruise, and that's exactly what they wanted. So keep that and do with what you will. I also looked up Norwegian. Again, same thing. It is based off of the sailing, how long you're going, all of those things. You're going to be looking at least about $130 to $250 per person. Again, those obviously are going to be more so your longer sailings, which makes sense.
Right.
Yep. So those are the ones that I mainly focus on. I did not look up Carnival. I did not look up Virgin Voyages. I would suspect it seems like a trend that you're looking at give or take $100 per person. And obviously if you're going on a week long or longer cruise, then you're going to be it's going to be more expensive because it's obviously going to be probably double the price. Let's be honest. But yeah,
But that makes sense too, that the insurance is going to be more for the more you pay for the cruise,
for
right?
sure.
You want to make sure you're covering and insuring and protecting yourself for the amount that you pay on the cruise. So I
For
mean, it
sure.
makes sense that the longer or whatever the cruise is, the more that travel insurance would be.
For sure.
Um, Maybe let's chat a little bit. I didn't write like a ton of specifics down, but reasons why you might get travel insurance and what it could protect. And I say could because again, it
Mhm.
depends on what package you get,
Exactly.
what level you're at, and not all insurances are the same, so they don't all cover the same thing. So things it could cover is any flight delays that you may have, um, lost luggage. That was one of the things that my client, we decided Southwest, massive winter storm, and then Southwest just completely went chaotic, and oh, it was terrible, so bad. And they almost didn't get out, and then they almost, like, I mean, it was
A nightmare.
having the heart palpitations. And but because it was mostly Southwest problem and issues, then they decided to go ahead and file through Southwest to reimburse for the things that they had to buy. But if your flight is delayed or your lost luggage, you could potentially submit a claim to get that back through your travel insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually cap it at a certain amount of for what you can claim. Other things it could cover. You talk, I'm going to pull it up and let you have
You're
it.
fine. I will say I'll caveat to that with lost luggage. I personally, as someone who does travel decently often, I guess, I recommend anything that is very valuable to you or very important to you to whatever extent that is. I would make sure that it is in your carry-on. Make sure you have a carry-on and carry those valuable items, personal items that you can't lose because you do run that risk every time you fly that you could have your luggage lost. It happens all the time. It doesn't have to be weather related for your luggage to get lost. I would just make sure that anything valuable, obviously your documents like passports, all obviously you need that on you. Anything that you would either have to pay a lot of money to recoup or is literally like there is you cannot associate value to it because it's so priceless to you. Make sure you have it on you just in case because you never know. You never know when your luggage is going to get lost and it's never fun.
Absolutely. Um, some other things, uh, if you get sick while you're there, it could cover a doctor's appointment,
Mhm.
or if you have to be um, like medically transported for any reason. I know I've heard recently uh, one of our friends ended up having to see the doctor
Mhm.
on a ship, on a cruise ship,
Yeah.
and the insurance kind of kicked in for that too. Security assistance for like a political evacuation, like if maybe you're in a country out of the country, needed to be um, leave quickly. Hazardous sports coverage, the baggage delays, cancel it could can't like if you needed to cancel for certain reasons, it could potentially cover that.
Mhm.
This says work reasons, or I've heard it to where maybe somebody got sick literally like right before, so being able to recover some of the cost of the trip if somebody
Mhm.
gets sick right beforehand. um, so that travel insurance, it gives you that sense of security. One would hope you don't have to use it at all.
I
um
was gonna say, I can't remember what episode we did, but you had a really good like connection to why you would need travel insurance. Do you remember what you said? You said basically connecting it to medical insurance.
nope.
That people we buy medical insurance to, that we pay through whoever we work for. Like mine is directly through my school district. And I mean, we pay into it every single month. And of course, like, obviously we don't want to shell out that money, but it's to protect if we ever got sick, had to go to the hospital because we broke our leg, which that has happened to me. Different whatever you need to go to the doctor for. Like you buy it not like expecting that you're gonna have to go to the hospital or the doctor every month, but you do it to protect when those things do come up because people do get sick, people do hurt themselves. We do have to go to the hospital, so it's just a way to protect ourselves when those situations do come up. It's the exact same thing. Travel insurance is a way to protect yourself if something does come up because things do come up. You don't want it to because again, I mean, who would want to miss out on their Disney World vacation or the Royal Caribbean cruise on Harmony of the Seas. Like you don't want to miss it, but you don't want to miss it and then be out thousands of dollars that you can't recuperate because you didn't buy travel insurance. Because a lot of those suppliers, like if you go call them and be like, hey, my husband is sick and we can't go to the trip. Can we get a refund? They're gonna be like, well, did you buy travel insurance? Nope. And they're gonna say, so sorry. There's nothing they can do. They're gonna be like, well, I hope he feels better, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do.
And if, I mean, this is a personal experience. I didn't have travels and I did not have travel insurance. Um, and you think that your regular health insurance is going to cover you in the event that you need to go to the doctor and you're away from home.
Yep. Mm.
They might,
Mm.
but you're going to fight them on it.
Yep.
And it's when we were down, I was with Evan and we did a mother son trip when he was 5, 6,
Mm.
um, down to Disney World. Well, he had a virus. It was July. I was thinking he was hot and dehydrated. Turns out he had a virus. But I texted my travel agent at the time and I was like, hey, we need a doctor. He threw up in the park and we
Mm.
came straight back and I'm like worried, right?
Of
I was
course.
thinking it was just dehydration, but I'm thinking it was a virus now. But so we were able to contact a service for the doctor to come to the room. I think the resort connected us, but anywho, um, and then here a couple months later, here comes this lovely bill of a lot of money, and I
Mhm.
was like, mm,
Wait.
"Hi." So I appealed it with our insurance, and I was like, "What did you want me to do?" We were in Disney World. We didn't have a car. It's not like I could have taken him to an urgent care. So we had this lovely doctor, nurse practitioner, I'm not even sure, come in to the room. I mean, yes, was it a premium service? Yes. But what was I supposed to do? I didn't have a car. I couldn't drive. He was sick, so he needed a booster. I didn't have one of those either. Um,
And you can't risk taking an Uber and expecting that they're going to have a car
and I
seat, especially with
think
Florida's state laws.
right. And it might have been slightly before Uber, like was super big,
True.
19, 2019. So I remember just it was like right when the minivans were starting to. So Uber was kind of a thing, but again, not something you want your 6-year-old to jump into a car with a stranger.
For sure.
Um, so yes, and I had to fight. I had to fight for it. And finally they were like, well, I guess because you were out of state and you didn't have any way to get there, then we'll cover it this time. I'm like, well, gee, thank you so much. However, think looking back and hindsight's 2020, that maybe travel insurance would have covered that a little bit easier than
Hmm.
me fighting with um, our insurance.
For sure.
Um, other things that could potentially sometimes, again, check the coverage. It might count in there like weather. That sometimes is a iffy, but with the hurricane season, these tsunamis, like those poor passengers that got stuck on Hawaii and their cruise ship left, and they were on an excursion in Hawaii, but didn't make it back to port before the cruise ship had to leave. So they were stuck in Hawaii and had to go to higher ground um,
That's an episode for
overnight.
another day.
Like, oh, I'm not even sure. I don't even want to know how, or what that back process would look like, even with travel insurance. But thinking
Sure.
of that, if for sure hurricanes, if something needed to be canceled. So
I will speak to that really quick just before we move on. So when I can't remember, there's so many different hurricanes that hit like the Florida area and like the Gulf, Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, whatever it's called at this point, who even knows? Anyway, whenever the last one hit Florida that directly impacted Orlando, Disney and I think Universal was really good about their policy too. They were really good about during those few days that the hurricane was, getting ready to hit landfall, directly hitting, and then like I think like a day or two after, they were really good about covering all of the people, even the people that decided to write it out or couldn't go back for whatever reason. They were so good about accommodating them, taking care of them. So many of the people that were going to go on a cruise or, go to the parks, I don't know if they got a full refund on their trip, but I know both parks were, and I think the cruise lines as well. I'm just more so focused on the parks because that's where I saw a lot of the most coverage. They were really good about reimbursing, at least to a specific extent. Again, I don't know if it was full coverage, but I do think, they did protect their guests, which was, I mean, of course you want that to happen, but it's not a guaranteed, unfortunately. That's kind of a gamble, especially when you go during hurricane season. I mean, personally, me as a travel agent, I don't feel comfortable booking a trip knowing that you're going in an area that does have active hurricanes. Like it's not a secret that Orlando and the Gulf get not just or Orlando, sorry, I didn't mean to specifically say Orlando. I did because I was just talking about it. Florida, but all of those southern states, they get hit by hurricanes every single year. It is without a doubt they're going to get hurricanes. So, just gambling, getting travel insurance, like I personally, I don't feel comfortable working with you knowing that you're going to gamble thousands of dollars and potentially be out a trip because of an active hurricane or a tropical storm, whichever it turns out to be. It's not worth gambling.
absolutely, which I mean kind of goes into my last point with 4 minutes. Um, that why is it important? And we've kind of touched on this throughout, but why it is important to get it, that paying 200, $400 on a $5,000, $6,000 investment is such a small piece of covering yourself if something does happen, to where you could potentially get that $5,000, $6,000 or whatever it is back.
Yeah.
Um, and it's the incidents that you don't plan for.
Mhm.
You don't expect to get sick. You don't
Exactly.
expect to have your flights delayed or lose to you to lose your luggage.
For
Nobody
sure.
plans. I mean, in the
Right.
back of
It's
my head,
today's
I'm
the
always
day. Okay.
expecting to lose my luggage.
Today's the day. I'm gonna lose my luggage. No.
Those connecting flights, there's always that small chance that it goes, but which I can't seem to fly without one. But you don't expect it. You
Hmm.
don't go on vacation expecting to have a medical emergency, but it
Exactly.
can happen.
Hmm.
And wouldn't you want to be covered? And maybe this is what you were talking about, that you want to be covered for that incident versus being screwed, for lack
Hmm.
of a better.
So I know we gave a lot of information about travel insurance, like the pros and cons. I mean, really, you just have to do what's best for your family and what's going to work with you. But again, like we said, there are certain instances, especially hurricane season, that are going to be a non-negotiable because we are professionals and we do understand that area and just knowing what is going to work for your vacation. We're not doing it because we want to make extra commission and that's not what it's about. Like we value your trips like we treat them as if they're our own trips. We want to make sure that you get to go on this vacation and have an amazing time, whether you have to postpone it or whatever. We want you to have an amazing trip. So really, I mean, is it worth it? You just have to discuss with your family what's going to work best. I mean, we can sit here until we're blue in the face giving you reasons why you should and reasons why you shouldn't. I mean, really, at the end of the day, you just have to decide, is it what you want and what you need for your trip?
Yep. And we usually ask clients to sign a form saying yes or no,
Yep.
or I decline it, I recognize I decline it, to where then we can come back and be like, you declined it.
Yep. We will have written consent of whether you accept or decline travel insurance. We're not doing it because, we're just trying to like get you or anything. We just want to also protect ourselves because this is our profession. Sometimes things come up and, maybe you should have gotten travel insurance. We also want to protect ourselves and that we had that discussion with you about travel insurance, whether you add it or not.
And it's to also make sure that you are fully informed of what
Mhm.
travel insurance is. And I know the form that we send out is very detailed to where I've had clients read it and been like, okay, nope, I want the travel insurance.
Yes.
Great. I
Yep.
want you to have the travel insurance.
Yes.
Next time, make sure to comment and share and subscribe.
Yep.
That's it for this episode, Vacation Dreamers. We hope you picked up some tips, ideas, and a little extra magic for your next adventure. If you enjoyed hanging out with us, be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for even more travel tips and updates. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep planning, and we'll see you real soon.